The Wilderness Within You, Day 36, the Wednesday of Week 6. We've got 4 readings. First from Matthew's Gospel, chapter 17, verses 1 to 2, from the Good News translation. 6 days later, Jesus took with him Peter and the brothers James and John, and led them up a high mountain where they were alone. As they looked on, a change came over Jesus. His face was shining like the sun, and his clothes were dazzling white. Then again from the Good News translation, from John 20, verses 14 to 16. Then she turned round and saw Jesus standing there, but she didn't know that it was Jesus. "Woman, why are you crying?" Jesus asked her. "Who is it that you're looking for?" She thought he was the gardener, and she said to him, "If you took him away, sir, tell me where you've put him, and I will go and get him." Jesus said to her, "Mary." And then from 1 Corinthians, chapter 13, verse 12, from the New Revised Standard Version. "For now we see in a mirror, dimly, but then we will see face to face. Now I know only in part. Then I will know fully, even as I have been fully known." And then from 1 John, the 3rd chapter, verse 2, from the Good News translation. My dear friends, we are now God's children, but it is not yet clear what we shall become. But we know that when Christ appears, we shall be like him, because we shall see him as he really is. I asked him to come with me into this particular wilderness because it felt so daunting. My friend's husband had died, and she was angry and distraught, in despair, really. It's not so much that I thought she'd have a go at me, she's way too nice for that, more that I felt scared of hurting her even more by insensitivity or pushing my own views. But at the same time, I thought that if only I could share with her some of the hope and the comfort and healing I have found in keeping company with Jesus, it might be a lifeline for her in all the bewilderness of pain and grief and loss. So I asked him to come with me, and he did. We came into her house together and sat side by side on her sofa, and at first I thought she was just absorbed in the introversion of deep emotion and not really paying attention. But gradually it dawned on me she couldn't see him. There he was, sitting right next to me, quietly, peacefully listening. And she couldn't see him at all, had no idea he was there. He made a difference. Some of her rage eased a little and made space for the sorrow to be expressed. We were able to talk through a few of the practical things she felt afraid of. Most of all, she just told me about the memories, his illness, the excruciating journey of his dying, how helpless she had felt and how inadequate. She remembered back to their early days, to some of the best times, the travelling, the music, the animals, the freedom, the fun. So I mainly just listened for a couple of hours, and when we left, she smiled and gave me a hug and said it had helped. But still she couldn't see him, nor did she notice when he put out his hand and ever so gently touched her cheek as we made our farewells. "What's with that?" I ask him as we thread our way home through the footpaths that criss-cross the town. "How come I can see you and she can't?" He looks at me and grins. "You can't see me either." And now I'm completely baffled. "Yes." I hesitate, confused. "Yes, I can. What do you mean?" I stand still where I am, staring at him, puzzled. He's laughing at me, not unkind, full of fun, affectionate, loving, his brown eyes shining. Of course I can see him. This is Jesus, just how I always imagined him. His homespun robe a bit scruffy, his beard and tumbling black hair reaching past shoulder length, his hands so expressive, with the scars at the wrists, his sandals. Jesus. Everyone knows what Jesus looks like. Well? I demand an explanation. "Well," he begins, "what you see when you look at me is partly what I am, and partly just how you think of me. There was a time, high on a mountain, when friends of mine were taken by surprise to see me as I really am, and it knocked them silly for a minute or two. If you saw me as I am, it would hurt your eyes, and what would be the point of that? So I let you see what you're expecting, and that's how you know it's me. That might change over time. You might come to see me differently. But if you do, that won't be because I've changed. It'll be because you've changed. Your friend, just now all she can see is herself because her grief is so big. That happened to a friend of mine too, after, when she had lost me. I came to find her, but she couldn't see me properly, didn't recognise me, because all she could see was her grief. It's okay. It's still me. I'm still here. Oh. This feels a bit disconcerting. I mean, I know we have never really been able to determine how much of what we see happens out there and how much inside our own heads. Is the colour green in the grass or in the wiring of our brains? Even so, suddenly Jesus seems that bit less real. I am really here, he reassures me, understanding what's going through my mind. Even when you can't see me, can't feel me, like your friend couldn't, I'm still here. I am always with you. And one day, I promise you, you will see me as I really am.